I do a lot of unconventional things as part of my beauty routine that you guys may not even know, such as shaving my entire face to get foundation to lay down flawlessly. I bleach my brows so they're not as dark. Lots of things today that I'm going to give you the nitty gritty, up close and personal on what I do to get the most flawless looking face that I can. Okay, now I know you guys are going to think I'm absolutely crazy for doing this, but for years I have actually bleached my brows. And the reason is my skin is obviously pretty fair, but my hair naturally and my brows are really, really dark. So because they're thin and they're dark, they can look very harsh. And almost sometimes if I leave them as is and I don't fill them in or lighten them, they look like a Sharpie brow. So I have to lighten them. So I take facial bleach like this, and I lighten my brows a bit just to take the edge off and make them a bit more wearable. Okay, now that my brows are bleached, do you guys see how they're a little bit lighter? So they're not quite as harsh. The only trick is, you guys, is when you bleach your brows, they can tend to go warm, especially on me. It pulls a little bit red, so you can't leave it on for too long. I'm just gonna say this from experience, 5-minute max. If you go more than that, they can start to go orangey. So now that they're lighter, then I can take whatever pencil that I want and fill them in, and it's not gonna look quite as harsh, especially against my fair skin. And then if they do happen to be a little bit warm, you can take an ashy toned brow gel. I really like this one from Lawless. It's just their light medium one. Let me show you all. So I'll use this on top to comb through it to kind of keep my brows straight, but that ashy color is going to balance out a little bit of that warmth. But do you see how it matches my hair now? It's kind of that warmth going on. It's not so stark and harsh. Now let's talk about tip number 2, the facial hair. You guys, I've been struggling with this for a long time. So what I have historically used for many, many years, I've talked about this very briefly on YouTube, is I've used razors to shave my face. This technique works great for almost as a dermaplaning tool, because you guys have seen those dermaplaning tools where it's like that little fine needle. I am clumsy as hell. I nicked my face, all of that. So I switched to using a razor, and it does give me the benefits as far as my makeup laying flat on my face, almost as a dermaplaning tool. But for hair, I used to use this just for hair, but now that I'm in my 40s, my hormones have done all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm getting so much hair, you guys, under my chin, even my neck. Why is there hair on my neck? I didn't even know hair grows there. And the full mustache and everything, you guys. I don't know what's going on, if it's just perimenopause or whatever. So the razors, I had to do it so often. I used to do it like once a month, maybe once every 2 weeks, but because the hair was growing in so fast and so dark, I was shaving all the time. Then I would get bumps and soreness and things like that, because like for dermaplaning uses, once a month, okay, but I cannot be shaving my face every other day to keep my hair at bay. So I started using this. I've used it for a long time, but I used it mostly on my arms. You guys know that my arms I've struggled with arm hair, which went away for a while. Then I hit my 40s and it came back. It's like chia pet all over my body. So I started using Ulike device, and I did a lot of research of this online. I'll put links below for real reviews on Reddit, other places, so you guys can see other people using it, so you know that I'm actually telling you genuine truth here. It's an amazing device, you guys, for hair removal. It's phenomenal. It actually has kept my chin hairs away for a long time. I've had this about a year, but I've been really consistent on it for the last 6 months, and I've really seen results now that I've been consistent with it. But I like this one the most out of all of the hair devices. It's easy to hold. I like the purple color. It's very pretty, but the main thing is it doesn't hurt. It doesn't get over hot. Like some of the devices I've tried can get really hot. This one doesn't. It works so good, you guys. Okay, so let me show you what I do on my face. So you turn it on. Too sexy for my glasses. Okay, so it turns it on. That's it cooling. It has a button right here that you press. So this is an IPL device. An IPL is meant to attack the hairs at the root. So it's going to be a lot more long-term resolution for your hair versus having to maintain it all the time. So I don't have to use this quite as often now that it's been 6 months of consistent use. So you're going to press the button and you're going to hold it down on your skin. And I just run it like that. Just hold it down. I don't feel it at all, you guys. It doesn't get hot because of that cooling system, and it doesn't hurt. So I've had this done professionally at a dermatologist's office years ago, like a long, long, long time ago. It hurt like hell. They would give you that little hose with cold air coming out to cool it down. I was like, this is not helping. It still hurts. This does not hurt at all. So I think it's amazing technology, you guys. And the cool thing is, don't quote me on this. I got this from Reddit. Some people who had used this device said that they were using it on their legs, and they noticed that their varicose veins had also gone down, it had gone away. So I'm going to try it. I will keep you guys updated on if it works for that too. But I will say confidently, for hair removal, absolutely fantastic. So I will put all the information in the description box. So Ulike is our sponsor for today. I'm really grateful for them because I do love the device. Genuinely, it's here in my collection of devices that I rotate through on a day-to-day basis. So thank you, Ulike, so much for sponsoring today's video. Love your device, and thank you for getting rid of my chin hair. Okay, so if you have a foundation in your collection that is very matte, very thick and cakey, the one that I have as an example is the Marlena Conceal and Perfect. It's amazing if you have really oily skin, but I want to show you the viscosity of this one. It's very thick. Do you see how when I put a dot on my hand and I tilt it up, it's just sticking there? It's not going anywhere. If you want to change the formula of this, you get to be a little chemist and mix some things together. You're going to grab a face oil, any sort of face oil. I have the Elemis one, but you guys can use jojoba oil, sweet almond oil, rose hip oil. Any of those are amazing oils. Castor oil even. I personally like sweet almond oil or jojoba, but you're just going to take 1 drop of oil and mix it in with my foundation brush, and that matte finish foundation all of a sudden now has a little bit of a dewy factor to it. So I changed it from a matte to now a dewy. So if you want to get the most use out of your foundation from season to season, like in the summer I need to use a bit more matte foundations because it's hot, I get sweaty, I get greasy, but in the winter my skin is more dry, so I've got to really use a dewy foundation. You don't have to go out and buy a ton of different foundations. You can take that same one that you have, mix a little bit of oil in it, and there you go, you've got a dewy foundation. So this tip works amazing. Even if you're over 40, it actually works better if you're over 40 because as we age, we can tend to look really dry, cakey if we put too much powder on. So if you put it underneath, put the foundation on top, it's going to look like skin, but the powder is going to mattify the T-zone. Do you guys see how with the light's hitting it, I have shiny spots here and here? So watch what happens when I just put a little bit of loose powder down. I say try to do loose instead of pressed powders because pressed powders, to get them to sit in the pan, they have lots of oils and binders, so these are going to be a little bit thicker in consistency than a loose powder. So take a sponge like this, I get them from Amazon, dip it in there and just apply this in the T-zone where you would get a little oily, and what it's going to do, it's going to lock in any oils on your face so it doesn't break through, causing your foundation to separate and look splotchy and uneven throughout the day. And then because you're doing this underneath the foundation, you don't have to use as much powder on top, which helps your face to look more like skin versus thick cakey powder. Okay, look at that, you all. Now I can put my concealer on and do my whole face routine, and I've got my face prepped and ready to go. So this tip I know Scott Barnes had made super popular when he used the Aquaphor for under the eye. So I'm actually kind of borrowing this from him. He did this one here, but I have another one that I like to use. It's by ROC, R-O-C. And I like this one a lot because it's a balm, but it has a little hint of peach color to it. It's gonna be hard to pick up on camera because of my light. So this one, I like putting balms under the eyes as well because as we age, we tend to get dry, but also our skin underneath the eyes is really thin and delicate. So you can't have anything too heavy, and having thick concealer under here to cover my dark circles is tricky because then it can look really thick and cakey, thus making me look older. So putting a balm down first like this, let me get in so you guys can see. Do you see how hydrated that is? And then I can go in with a concealer on top. You guys know I always use a color corrector. So do you see my dark circles right in there? So I'm just going to put a color corrector. Now this is without foundation. I've still got to do that too. Put this on top. Do you see how it's letting that concealer kind of glide without looking thick or cakey? Okay, now this one, I know you all are gonna think I'm crazy. I know it. I promise this works. If you have dry to combination skin, if you have oily skin, this is gonna be too much. Take a lip gloss and you're gonna put it underneath your foundation to add dewiness to the skin. The stickiness of the lip gloss is gonna help the foundation adhere to it, giving you a glossy look. This will not break you out, you guys. I think everyone's like, oh my gosh, it'll break me out. Don't put it here in your pores. You're just gonna put it here on top of the cheekbone. So I just put a few stripes like that on top, and then I grab my foundation, and then I just take a brush, kind of tap it out. Do you see how it's giving me a little bit of gloss here? I'm not gonna come in here on the pores and all that. This has not broken me out. The ingredients that are in lip gloss, you all, a lot of products that cross over from one category to the next, like cream blushes, lip gloss, liquid foundation, a lot of them have very similar ingredients. So it's not like this is automatically gonna cause a skin reaction just because it's a lip gloss. You can put it anywhere, but I wanna show you what happens when we put our foundation on top. Okay, do you all see the shine on my cheeks? In person, it just looks very glowy, very dewy and fresh. It looks like skin. It's giving me that shine without it being sparkly or shimmery like a traditional powder highlighter would do. So if you really want that kind of glossy, looks like dewy, creamy skin, this is an amazing technique, you guys. I need you to just trust me. Just try it. I want you to try it. Come back to this video and comment on it and let me know if it worked for you or not. Let me know which beauty hack was your favorite and what do you guys do that may be unconventional. Share it with me so I can try them out too.